Well, since we're all answering at once here, itchiness, rashes, dry skin, bloating, discolored nails. Those are some of those symptoms you'll see. Let's see. Heavy metals. So some glutathione genotypes are associated with reduced protection against mercury toxicity, and the glutathione is responsible for protecting against detoxifying heavy metals like mercury. What is a great source of mercury for all Americans? Forget amalgam fillings because not all Americans have those. Forget mercury preserved vaccines. Not all people have those either. What is the source of mercury that virtually everyone cannot avoid? It's in the slide. Burning coal for energy, coal power plants. One of the byproducts of coal burning is mercury vapor, and we breathe that in. Now there are scrubbers on the coal plants, and they do grab some of that, but it's not, it's not absolute. Um, and I mean, there's obvious issues around coal and coal burning from the way it's mined and to how it produces gas, climate changing, heat, whatever. But um, just think about chemicals. If you might, that piece might be the part that tips you that, oh, you want to be breathing in mercury vapor every day. Get away from both coal burning, which I believe is all over this country. So there you go. How about immunity? Glutathione is the master antioxidant system involved in oxidative stress, detoxification, and immunity. The functional capacity of immune cells and the ability to cope with oxidative stress has been proposed one of the significant markers of health and longevity. And we've been talking about this the whole time, right? We want to be healthy in life, later in life as we go on. We want to be healthy. So, um, wouldn't it be great to know if you have a genetic predisposition to a greater glutathione need before wintertime, before cold and flu season, before you're interacting with patients who have chronic illnesses and chronic sinusitis and recurring yeast candidiasis, mold, fungal infections, athlete's foot, whatever it is, to know that these people with chronic immune issues and then how to address it. This test can get you there. It can find that out for you. So here's something. Glycine is one of the three major amino acids for glutathione production, protecting the body from oxidative damage and during the immune response and supporting T cell proliferation, okay? And some people have the rare genotype for increased type 1 collagen production that may require higher, not your, but higher glycine requirement. And again, you would never know this without the DNA test and knowing if they need more glycine for immune support. And this next slide, I think, is very important. Glutathione is the master antioxidant system involved with stress. We talked about that. Some genotypes have a slightly decreased levels, and glutathione decreases with age. We talked about that, right? This is the DNA protection repair section. That's what we transferred from to this report, to this presentation. And I call it the DNA protection repair section is also the longevity section. That's really what we're getting after here. And it's very important for you to note that the test is not just the bearer of bad news. There are always actionable items for anything we see in the test. Glutathione has been found to increase by 20% just with deep breathing practices. And then, of course, we talked about all those other things earlier. The selenium, the glycine, the cysteine, the vitamin C, cruciferous vegetables, they all improve glutathione levels. Chicken and bone broth, herbs, spices, cinnamon, anise, sage, and thyme. Here are the specific genes inside the test. If that's interesting to you, you can find them in the report. And CBS is a big one. It's an enzyme in the transsulfuration pathway, It catalyzes the conversion of homocysteine to cystathionine, a substrate for glutathione synthesis. So it needs B6 and healthy SAMe production just to function, and deficiencies in the CBS activity are the most frequent cause of familial high homocysteine and the underlying cause of the CBS genetic disorder, homocystinuria, which is characterized by severe high homocysteine levels, so on and so forth. So you can see there are other important processes. So how can you improve that? Ginger. Ginger consumption has been reported to increase lipid peroxidation and normalize the activities of superoxide dismutase and catalase, as well as GSH and glutathione peroxidase, glutathione reductase, glutathione S transferase. So there you go on that. So how do we improve glutathione? We've talked about that. And you can achieve this through diet, shake, supplementation, breathing, exercise. So that was just a little side of this part of the test. Right here, DNA production and repair. That, again, this was just the glutathione box of the DNA production repair section, which I also like to think of the longevity section, and that's all right here. So we just spent all that time right here. So now I have another 15-minute presentation on the catalase protection. Just kidding. Just kidding. Catalase protection. All right. CAT makes an enzyme called catalase, which helps reduce oxidative stress. CAT is present in all aerobic cells. While research has found the highest correlation to prostate, breast, liver, and blood health. Now, this person has a genotype associated with improved catalase levels. But if it were medium or high priority, there would be stuff right here in the box telling them what to do. And this is an instructive moment. If you're reviewing this test for a patient and this comes up average, green, that means good. That means you ignore it. You don't spend time talking about it. You don't spend time looking over here or anything. Just like I just said, oh, there's you go. That's what it is. However, if there is a problem, if it is medium or high priority, I just want you all, I'm just checking something. It's really important for you to all of you to know that there would be information in that section to tell you what to do about it. Keep it moving. Next is mitochondrial protection. So this person on this sample test, they had no issue around catalase or mitochondrial protection, right? But I can tell you something, that if you had someone that did, what would come up in the box, I'm not going to toggle between multiple different tests, but if it came up with, sorry, I had one here on my desktop I was working on earlier for a different patient. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. She's got a box right there, what it says. So low catalase, if you had it here, would say increases the sensitivity to DNA damage from bisphenol A plastic, BPA plastic, foods high in flavonoids, the mushroom, lion's mane, holy basil, cumin, anise, fennel, caraway, cardamom, deep breathing practices all improve catalase level. Manganese, boron, vitamin A, C, E, omega-3 fatty acids, CoQ10, lutein, lycopene, milk thistle, cordyceps, holy basil, reishi, cryotherapy, all increase mitochondrial protection. So just like all that information that it presents for glutathione, it would present for catalase or mitochondrial. It just happens that this one test that we're going through doesn't have it. So the software maker who runs all the tests, all the results through, I've told them, next time when you make the next tests, which are coming out soon, give me one that actually is everything. So we don't have to find out, because they tried to make this like realistic. Oh, this person's got this, but not this, but not this. So the next one, the SOD2 gene is responsible for superoxide dismutase levels, an important protector of the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. Now, if they didn't, if this was a high or medium priority, um, it would say that your genotype is associated with reduced mitochondrial protection. Manganese, boron, vitamins A, C, E, omega-3 fatty acids, CoQ10, lutein, lycopene, milk thistle, cordyceps, holy basil, reishi mushroom, and cryotherapy all increase mitochondrial production. Now, again, you shouldn't be writing this down. You have to memorize it because, again, if it came up in the test, you would deal with it right here. UV protection. This is a good one. One, let's move this up. Right here. Sorry. All right. One hypothesis for variants in the MTHFR 607 gene and genotype variant is that they're selected based on higher folate intake and UV exposure, both common in Mediterranean climates. What happens in the body when the MTHFR enzymatic function is reduced is that thymidine, I should say, production increases. Thymidine enhances repair of UV-induced DNA damage to help quickly repair sun damage. This person has that, but some people don't. So if they didn't, it would say that their genotype associated with moderate UV protection from the sun. And so to improve their UV protection, you'd want to increase your intake of folate-rich foods, blackberries, wild salmon, cocoa powder, cacao powder, schisandra, reishi, mushroom, dill, and dried parsley. Their genotype is associated with slightly lower antioxidant production for the skin, vitamin C, niacin, zinc, selenium, dandelion root, ashwagandha, and dark roast coffee have all been shown in tests, clinical trials, to reduce the risk of melanoma. Next would be skin protection. Sorry, that was skin protection. Next would be, so in UV, the other thing to say about UV is that eye health. So blue light is a high energy or short wavelength of visible light from your phone or your computer that you're looking at right now, and induces inflammation and retinal diseases such as age-related macular degeneration and retinitis pigmentosa. The genotype associated with a higher requirement for foods high in lutein, zeaxanthin, and anthocyanins for eye health. And that's what would come up if they needed the UV protection here for the eyes. UV protection. Then lung protection. Okay, sorry, it's a little touchy. Right here. All right, variants in the GSTP1 gene have been associated with lower antioxidant support in the lungs when exposed to environmental pollution. Your genotype is associated with slightly decreased lung protection against environmental pollutants. And here are the nutrients and minerals and foods to tackle it. And if people have Asian ancestry, this comes up. Now, it comes up for everybody. It appears as a test, but you only have to address it if the people do have Asian ancestry. And that's that. Colon protection, same thing, increased risk of colon cancer. Sorry, did I move up one? Okay. Yeah, so same thing, medium, high priority there, it would come up and there would be some really nice things to deal with, to support it, as it says here. Now, this one's a little different. It's not just colon cancer, it's cured meat and colon health. So it's very specific to cured meats. They did a huge study of people eating processed meat compared to those normal genotypes. Just one thing knowing that they were targeting things like nitrites and nitrates, not naturally cured meats. So, that's a big note. So if this comes up medium high priority, you really do want to get them off of those conventionally raised cold cuts and bacons and hams and salamis that would have nitrites and nitrates in them, and that very negative for those eating those processed meats, and they would increase their risk of colon cancer. Keeping the vitamin D levels high found to cut the colon cancer in this genotype in half. On top of it, a high intake of fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices has also been found to dramatically reduce the risk of colon cancer. So, you know, it's really good for everybody. And then even more specifically, if people are eating hot dogs and salami, stuff of that nature. The note taker says it's really quiet in here. I don't know, I've been talking this whole time. You can all hear me, right? Some more people jumping in. Next, again, we talked a little bit about that. Getting back talk from the AI assistant. Blue, not my AI assistant. Blue light is a high energy or shortwave like visual light for your phone. We talked about that. That we need foods high in lutein, zeaxanthin, and anthocyanins, and it can support and it will increase myopia. So just think about all the people on their computer and the phone now. It's increasing myopia. It's increasing nearsightedness. I think it's going to increase by 140% by the year 2050 due to our increased time in front of the screens, which we're doing right now. Sorry to be giving you something that's not great for that, but I'm going to give you the answer. Bilberries and lingonberries exert protective effects against these blue lights that are coming out at us and induce the retinal photoreceptor cell damage due to their polyphenol counts. So what do we want to do? Excuse me. We're going to have dark purple berries, dark leafy greens, summer squash, green peas, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. Now, this is another talking point. So I might say to you, gee, summer squash, that's quite specific. I like zucchini. I like acorn squash. I like butternut squash. Does it have to be summer squash? Well, in this case, the clinical trial with the people with this with this genotype were given summer squash, and it did support their eye health and reduce the cell damage due to the LED light induced damage. So, I believe that a lot of these other foods associated with these foods are also be helpful. These are just the ones that were in the clinical trials. So take that for what you will, but in general, these would be the best sources, and then other fruits and vegetables would be good sources. After eye protection, we run to thyroid protection. Up to 60% of those with thyroid disorder are unaware of the condition. The cause is considered largely unknown and occurs 10 times more in women than in men. Hashimoto's disease separately runs in the family. 70 to 80% of its susceptibility to autoimmune thyroid disease is based on genetics. So again, you're going to find out a little more with the test. This person's genotype combination is associated with reduced thyroid protection and slightly increased risk of Hashimoto's disease. Autoimmune thyroid disease associated with celiac disease. A deficiency in selenium is associated with celiac disease and thyroid disease and plays a significant role in thyroid hormone synthesis, so secretion metabolism. So again, here are the ways to negatively impact it. We've got sucralose and glyphosate, which destroy the gut flora, like lactobacillus, which disturbs selenocysteine levels present in the catalytic center of enzymes that protect the thyroid from free radical damage. Not good. The artificial aspartame, so 2 artificial sweeteners, harm the body when it comes to thyroid because aspartame can break down formaldehyde and increase the TSH levels and worsen the capacity of the gland, leading to thyroid failure. So some of those kind of ambiguous aspartame issues, and we get into that in my DNA life hacks presentation, which we can of course present to you or you practice anytime. Similar to that glutathione presentation, I've got about 10 of those different DNA PowerPoints ready to go in case you ever want to see one. shoot me an email or a call or a text. Or if you ever want me to present it to your practice in the not this form, but more in the PowerPoint form, I'd be happy to do that for you. Or share with you the presentation that then you can present yourself. And then last, pancreas protection. No, not last. Take that back. So multiple genes are linked to DNA protection for pancreatic health. This person's good. And again, if there were a medium or high priority, there would be a whole laundry list of things to do here. What's impacting it both positively and negatively, right? And how to support it. And I guess that is least. I'm sorry. Pancreas is the last one in this section. So anyway, that's that. That is the DNA and protection repair section with the emphasis on glutathione. In 2 weeks, we're going to be going over cardiovascular health and exercise. That one also has a PowerPoint. A lot of stuff going on in this section. And like all of these tests, you find out the genes there, and then the fun part, the foods, the good things to eat, the nutrients containing foods that will really support this genotype, for this person's genotype. Any questions at all? Anything related to the DNA test? Yeah, no, it's Dr. Davis Pasquale. I know that it was just the AI assistant. I was teasing that the AI assistant was giving me a hard time, but AI, artificial intelligence, it's got a mind of its own, as they say. As long as it doesn't have its finger in the nuclear command codes, we'll be all right. I don't mind getting razzed in my DNA presentation by AI. That's all right. At least it wasn't correcting me. That'd be worse. All right. Any questions? No? Everybody good with this section? All right. Well, we'll see you in a couple weeks, I hope.